Hey guys, Liana here. It's Wednesday, and you're looking at a very early build of a game called Armikrog. It's a puzzle game by, you'll notice the Earthworm Jim influence. There's a reason for that. This is a super, super, super early build. There's even some placeholder sketches in the cutscene at the beginning. But I picked it up at E3, and they gave me a code, so I thought I'd show it off while I talk to you guys about E3. Whoa, wizard.
I knew you'd come. Now, here's the hint. To open a door, you must lock another.
To open a door, I must lock another. Okay, what is this creepy thing up here? As I promised E3 stories, and I will not disappoint. What are you? You're a little. Okay. So E3 this year. Normally, the weather is fairly cool in June when it's time for E3. And oh, what are you? Okay. Building, up. Okay, I have no idea what that means. But this year, because of various weather effects, the weather was unseasonably warm in LA, and they're also having their, yearly electrical shortages and brownouts and droughts and all that stuff. That's pretty cool. But so the various buildings in their infinite wisdom decided to conserve power by turning off the air conditioning. And one of the things that happens at E3 is you go and pick up your badge on Sunday instead of, being in the line at the, I should actually check if I can go in that window. Instead of, being in the line at the first day and possibly miss your first appointment, blah, 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 blah. You get your badge on Sunday. Well, the poor employees at the LA Convention Center were just sweating. It was like a jungle inside the LA Convention Center. It was so humid, and they were putting a brave face on, but you could tell they were not comfortable. And of course, one of the things that goes sideways with things like that is computer systems when when it's hot. And so there were some issues, but nothing compared to stuff that was happening on later in the show. There were a couple demos I actually don't feel like I can judge properly because there were performance issues with them, but I can't rightly claim that I can say with certainty it wasn't because of that door closed. Oh, that's interesting. Well, stop. Okay. I can't rightly say with certainty that it wasn't because of the heat. So what benefit does the game demo have in those conditions? I don't know. So that was part of the issue. It's not just a comfort issue. It's actually a concern about, being able to properly judge the products we're down there to cover for you guys. So what the heck was that? That was weird. No, quiet.
I knew you'd come. Now, to open a door.
Yeah, to open a door, I must lock another. But there were more follies before we even got to the show floor. Some of you may know that the Monday of E3, ooh, there's supposed to be something there. Like I said, this is a very early, very, very early build. So Monday of E3 is press conference day. And there were more press conferences at E3 this year than any year I can remember. And so they got very slammed together. I mean, it's always traditionally been Xbox, Ubisoft, EA. No, other way around. Xbox, EA, Ubisoft, PlayStation. That's always been the way the order has gone. But in its infinite wisdom, EA decided to go for an hour and a half this year, meaning that the turnaround between the EA press conference and the Ubisoft press conference for those of us going was, by a hair. And the unfortunate thing for me is that my bra broke, the left side of my bra broke during the EA press conference. It just went blink and snapped, like the little hook in the back went. And all I would have needed is 5 minutes to go to the washroom and, reset myself instead of walking around like half a National Geographic cover. Did I have time between EA and Ubisoft to do that? No. I left the EA press conference, immediately got on the first bus I could, got to Ubisoft with 2 minutes to spare. 2 minutes. That's not even time to go to the bathroom. And so I don't know, those of you who wear bras probably know what it's like to have a broken bra in the heat. For those of you, be very, very glad you don't know what it's like. It's not comfortable and it's embarrassing, right? Fortunately, I had a jacket on so I could kind of hide the wardrobe malfunction. But that's how little time there was between shows. And that's ridiculous. I mean, people don't have time to get anything to eat. They don't have time to go to the bathroom. They don't have time to do anything. And the funny thing about the Ubisoft press conference is they put us in an area with an obstructed view. And so there was really no point in being there live. We were watching it on screens, just like anybody at home. I mean, okay, we could hear the crowd reactions, but that's kind of about it. There was no real way to see the actual stage because they had these extra lights. I don't remember it ever being like this at Ubi before, but they had these extra lights or teleprompters or something like that going on. And so you couldn't see the stage where they put the press. I mean, I'm all for giving fans the better seats because they're going to enjoy it. But we really have to reassess why we're going there if there's really nothing that can be done. If we're just gonna watch screens, I can watch it in a in my hotel room where there's actual water. And well, they did give us a small bottle of water at Ubisoft, but where there's water and there's air conditioning and I have a desk so I can type properly. I mean, good God, you dropped something at that Ubi press conference, forget it. It wasn't coming back. We were packed in there like sardines. And that's the other thing. It was actually at the EA press conference. I felt really, really bad for the guy sitting next to me. He was a larger gentleman. And there are a lot of larger people at E3. This isn't, this shouldn't be a shock to anyone that, bigger people exist. Oh, good Lord. But the chairs were those little tiny, those garden chairs you have at weddings. That was the chairs, and they were right up next to each other. And so this poor guy, despite himself, he couldn't help it. He was half in my seat. And it wasn't comfortable for anyone. It was awkward as anything. It was awkward for him. And, some people go, just lose weight. If people could lose weight, they would. It's not okay to say stuff like that. But the reality is there are a lot of, they call double XL t-shirts where I come from fan size, okay? And sorry guys, I can't figure out this puzzle. I get the sense something might be missing here. Oh, that's a weird bug. But, the reality is that there are a lot of bigger people in gaming, and I wish they would just accommodate for that instead of pretending like the issue is not there and squishing us all in and making it uncomfortable for everybody. And you may have seen my Twitter. I was back on the wheelchair accessibility thing because Activision and EA both had stairs in their booths again. And I mean, the game I really wanted to see was Unravel, and I did get to see it, and it's adorable. But to get to it, you have to go up a flight of stairs. And if someone's in a wheelchair, forget it. And that, it may seem like a small thing and people are like, oh, so what? Well, if you're in a wheelchair, that's a big so what, and Sony, instead of having a second level or booth this year, they actually took out lounge space upstairs so that you could use the convention center facilities to get up to the press lounge and play the games. Not as much developer access as in previous years, which was kind of disappointing, but, did get to play the games, and it was a lot more comfortable playing the games. Because the silly thing is, right, the convention center keeps the air conditioning fairly low. So the companies themselves bring in spot air conditioners for their booths. There's actually air conditioning units in the individual booths. So I'm not sure how that's saving power, but there were definitely climate zones. But when you go up to one of those upper levels, they have to keep that artificially cold because heat rises. So all the body heat and all the heat from the electronics is coming from the main level of the show floor upstairs. It gets quite gross. It's really not, it's not conducive to testing electronics, if you get where I'm going. But there's a bit of a debate now about E3 itself, because some people, mostly people like me who want to see a bit of everything. We want to sample all the publishers and we want to get indie time in, and we just can't. We can't. There is not enough time. But we say, this really needs an extra day. The look of horror on the PR people's faces when you say that. They do not want an extra day. And so it's sort of, what do we do? I mean, I suppose we can make the Tuesday a full day. I am so stuck on this puzzle. I apologize, guys. I suppose we can make the Tuesday a full day instead of a half day, and push more press conferences onto the Saturday and Sunday, because you don't have to physically be there to watch the press conferences, right? You don't in real terms. So why does Nintendo have to be Tuesday morning? Well, traditionally it was when they had a physical press conference. They don't anymore. But so there are logistics issues with the sheer size of E3 right now. And I mean, didn't get anywhere near Warner Brothers. Didn't get anywhere near 2K because I couldn't work out appointments in advance, and I had so many appointments that was all I had time for. So, that's a bit disappointing for me, because I want to be a fair judge of everything. But you can't. You cannot see everything. And I don't expect to see everything, but I'd like to at least, hit all the majors. Because otherwise you form these alliances with publishers, for lack of a better term. And it's like, it's not because you're personally partial to their product. It's because you have the contact and can get access. But there was a lot of neat stuff at E3 this year, and I think I'll talk about that tomorrow, because this video is already getting long and you guys are probably bored about failing with the puzzle. But it really is becoming a thing of the individual attendees, the media and the fans and all that stuff coming there. We really are all working together, because the show itself barely functions as a self-run entity. It's too big. There are so many logistics nightmares. For instance, the show floor opens at 10 o'clock, right? There is absolutely 0 point in booking an appointment for 10 o'clock, because you will not make it. You will be a minimum of 10 minutes late. Why? Because they don't let anybody in until 10 o'clock, and the lines are 2 lines from the doors, the inner doors to the hall, all the way through the lobby back out nearly onto the street. The lines are that long. And, so you lose 15 minutes at the beginning of your day in an already short day. Tuesday's a crush, because Tuesday's a day people want to see their priorities, because then they can get their awards out and, get the early coverage. So everybody wants Tuesday appointments, but Tuesday's only a half day. And the whole thing is just very, very strange. It's a very strange show. They don't have enough space for all the people that want to be there. It's too expensive for, legitimate indies to be there on their own. So they end up, through organizations like Indiecade and stuff like that, which is great. But again, you're squished. You can't really do proper interviews or proper demos in the Indiecade space because everything is so jammed together that you can't get enough space to get a nice looking shot. Audio is crazy. You can barely hear each other because it's so loud. And, it's just not a practical way for people to actually demo the products they're showing. Now, that being said, people make it work. Like I said, everybody kind of works together and makes it happen. And the cool thing is meeting people from all over the world, and the ones that do sort of bother to talk to you while you're in line. It's neat. It's neat to get the different perspectives. You get those reporters who are, very close to the vest, not sharing my secrets. You ask them, what have you seen that you liked? Oh, I'm not sure. And I find it very hard to believe that you've gone through, this was on the Thursday of E3 that a guy did this to me. And I'm like, you're seriously telling me that you can't think of one game that really just, you were tickled by? Because I can name a bunch. I mean, I'm so stoked for the new King's Quest. So stoked. It just looks awesome. And I'll get into more of why in later things. My write-ups are up. I wrote some stuff for CG Magazine, wrote some stuff for Metal Eater, of course, and did some videos for Metal Eater. But, I'm so stoked for King's Quest. It just looks awesome. At the suggestion of a Metal Eater reader, I checked out Skyshine's Bedlam. It is fantastic, especially as a strategy game. I discovered Armello, which is another strategy game, which is very hard, but it's a beautiful looking game. Anthropomorphized animals too. So, I mean, the Armello guys didn't know that they'd have furry fans, which made me laugh because of course they have furry fans. And I mean, even the AAA stuff, Assassin's Creed Syndicate was playable. It was a good, long, lengthy demo that showed the, exploration, and the speed of exploration has increased significantly because there's a grappling hook now, so you don't have to look for cross points between the buildings. You can make them. The melee combat is now sort of a group dynamic because you've got your gang and the other gangs and, the rival gangs. That's what I'm looking for. And so the melees are melees. It's bananas. Unravel was just adorable. It was playable too, which I love it when games are playable because it's so different when you can actually muck around and try it and see if that game mechanic is actually easy to use, see how fumbly the controllers are. Are they hiding bugs? If you go into this corner, does the whole thing crash? Stuff like that. That's the stuff I like about demos being playable. I was really surprised there was nothing for Fallout 4. I suppose I shouldn't have been because I don't think Fallout 3 was playable. But that's just odd that way. They go through years that everything's playable. I mean, New Vegas was playable. It was buggy, but it was playable. They'll go through years like that where, Rage will be playable or Fallout New Vegas will be playable. And this year Battle Cry was playable, but that's it. They had the Fallout Shelter, like tablet game, like mobile game that was playable, but Fallout 4 wasn't playable. And I don't know what to think about that. Some people go, no. When I say, well, maybe it's glitchy and that's why it's not playable. And no, I'm sure it's fine. That doesn't make any sense. Like, how can you be sure? You don't know. The default guess is if something's not playable, it's not ready yet. I mean, they have a demo for Armikrog and it's like, look, it's clearly glitchy, but they want people to see it. They want people to get the sense. Most reviewers accept that in early builds, there are going to be slight glitches. you know. My problem is I'm stuck on this puzzle because I'm sure if I was demoing this, I'd know what to do. But, speaking of demos, my favorite indie game, small indie game. I mean, my favorite indie game of the show was Time Machine VR by Minority Media, but that's a virtual reality game with dinosaurs. It's, you know, mini AAA more than what we expect is indie. But my favorite little, you know, traditional indie game was a game called Tribal and Error, which you play this robot that's sent back in time, and what he does is records the vocalizations of cavemen, and you have to solve puzzles by interpreting the context of the little caveman grunts, which I thought was very clever. It was a neat way of like working with language constructs and making language the puzzle. It was quite cute. I really liked it, and the puzzles were very, very clever, and the art style was cute, and all that good stuff. So I've been talking for 20 minutes now, so I'm gonna wrap because I'm also stuck. But mainly I wanted to show you guys this for the art style. Because like I said, this is an early build, and I'm sure there will be more hints in the actual game. Also, I'm still really tired and distracted, and I suck. But I'll have more E3 stories for you tomorrow, get a bit more into the games I saw, because there's no time to do it in a single segment. I'll focus more on AAA stuff tomorrow. But you know, let me know on Twitter, because I haven't been checking YouTube comments lately. Just, it's a big come down when I've gone from seeing all these awesome games to the pettiness of YouTube comments. So I'm just taking a break from YouTube comments for a while. So if you want to yell at me, use Twitter. If you want to tell me I suck, use Twitter. You know, I'd prefer constructive, you know, feedback, maybe even positive feedback, maybe even questions for Feedback Friday. That stuff I can work with. You know, it's so strange that people just, you know, get so negative about things because it's noise, right? It's just stuff that gets tuned out. And like, I'll talk more about the effect that's having on gaming tomorrow, because you see a lot of it at E3, publishers just being very, very careful to have, you know, nothing that could possibly spark a controversy, which means less informative demos and, you know, less content that we can really talk about and discuss with our readers or analyze as ourselves. Not to tear it apart, not to criticize it, just talk about it in any way, shape, or form. And gaming goes through waves this way. Sometimes it opens up, sometimes it clamps down, and publisher to publisher, it's been very different that way. But I'll talk about that tomorrow, because I've stretched your attention spans long enough. But isn't Armikrog neat looking? I think so. Okay, guys, bye!